Hey Divya,
Hey,
how are you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're gonna start the session in about 2 minutes more. Let the people join in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Is Sachin also joining? Yes, yes. Sachin is here. Hey Sachin, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We'll start the session in about 2 minutes more.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's wait for people to join in.
Sure.
Hello people, join in, come through. Just waiting for 2 more minutes. Okay, let's start the session. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's workshop. We have with us today, but not one, but two panelists. Please welcome Sachin and Divya from Bioeconomy. Thank you so much for taking the time out. With them, we will be talking about how to build seamless cross-chain dapps. Feel free to ask questions down in the Q&A tab, and then they will try to answer your queries. Without further ado, let's begin the workshop. Over to you, Sachin and Divya.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
uh,
yeah,
Congress.
yeah, I'll go. Hey guys, I'm Divya Nilwal. So I'm a blockchain developer at Bioeconomy. I've been here for around 3 years. And with me, I have Sachin, who's the CTO and co-founder of Bioeconomy. Today, we'll be discussing about cross-chain uh, dapps and how to bridge and what is cross chain, how it came into picture, and how it's getting traction and what we can do about it. So yeah, over to you, Sachin.
Yeah. Thanks, Divya. Also, like just to tell you, Divya is not feeling really well. So mostly, I'll be doing the more of the speaking. So yeah, let's start the conversation. With how, like, why, like, what is this multi-chain or cross-chain world, and why this is like so important like today. And then we will be going through hyphen product, which is from Bioeconomy, that is like a cross-chain bridge, and how you can develop cross chain application by integrating hyphen in your application. And then we'll also see one live cross chain transactions on mainnet. And we'll go through like who is doing what in the overall cross chain communication flow. So, like, to start with, like, what is this cross chain? So recently, layer 2 blockchains have been very popular in the space. So they are actually trying to solve, like, scale blockchain by providing low transaction fee and high throughput and high transaction per second. Now now like there are multiple layer 2, each solving their some of the unique problems in the blockchain in their own way. Some are side chains, some are roll ups, and then some are even doing another layer 1 blockchains. So side chains and roll ups are usually associated with one layer 1, And like Ethereum is layer 1 blockchain, and if you see, optimistic rollup, which is optimism, that is like a layer 2 chain on top of Ethereum. So it has to it needs layer 1 to basically work. But there are other layer 1s that are working independently, like Solana blockchain, Flow blockchain, Tezos chain. So these are like individual layer 1 blockchain. Now multiple blockchains are coming, and people now do not want to stick to a single chain, uh, because other chains are providing more pro, and then like no chain is like the best chain, if you think from all point of view. So each chain has its own pro, but now users want to leverage all the benefits of each chain, so they want to hop around between multiple chains. But how to do that? Like, it's not that easy to go from one chain to another. Even though layer 2 and layer 1 are working together to provide blockchain scaling solutions, but technically, if you see, they are a different layer 2 like chains are different blockchains, like they are independent chains running separately, and there is no inbuilt communication among these chains. So Ethereum blockchain does not have a code to communicate with Polygon, for example. So that's why someone has to make a solution on top of current blockchains that are existing today, and that solution will be the key to the communication between these chains. Now when we talk about these cross-chain communication solution, usually we call them bridge solutions. So when you talk about communication, it's a very generic term, communication. There can be multiple use cases when we are saying we are doing a cross-chain communication. So it can be funds transfer, which is usually most of the time the case. When we see cross-chain, we are mostly dealing with cross-chain transfer of funds between the chains. And then more use case can be like cross-chain swaps, not just transfer. And generic smart contract calls, like you do some operation on chain 1, and then there is a cross-chain solution operating between the two chains that is taking care of doing a transaction on the other side of like other chains. And then when I say transaction, it can be any smart contract call, it can be a token transfer, it can be a token swap. So there are like multiple use cases when we talk about cross chain. But yeah, like most popular use case is the cross chain transfer. So you have your funds on, let's say, let's take Ethereum and Polygon as two chains, and let's say you want to communicate, like you want to transfer your funds between these two chains. Now bridges can operate in a different way, and they can have different security solution. They can have different trust assumptions. The way the bridge is operating can be different. Maybe one bridge is asking you to transfer your funds on a single address, which can be like externally owned account, and which the bridge claims it to be a it can be a multi-sig address, it can be a single EOA, and then you send the funds to that address, and the bridge is after making sure that it has received the funds, it can give you the funds on the other side. Now when the bridge give you funds on the other side, again it can be, they can actually mint new assets on the other chain and give you, or they can give you the asset that already exists on the blockchain, so it doesn't have to be like a newly minted asset. So usually when we categorize these bridges, one bridge, like one kind of bridge, is the one that locks your token on source chain and mint new asset on the destination chain. And common example of these bridges, like there's wormhole bridge that does the minting of assets, wormhole wrapped assets they mint on the destination chain. Other sides of other category of bridges are that do not mint new tokens, but they give you the already existing token. Like let's say you want to do USDC transfer. So you lock USDC on the source chain, you get USDC representation on the destination chain, not any new, bridge wrapped asset, but the actual representation of USDC on the destination chain. And hyphen is like the comes in second category, where hyphen does not mint new assets. It is actually dealing with the existing assets. Uh, so and also when we think about bridges, it consists of mainly two components. One is the communication part, where the bridge is taking care of getting your deposit message from source chain and delivering the message on the destination chain. Now what the destination chain do with that message will depend on how a bridge operate, whether it's minting new asset, whether it's maintaining liquidity pools, and giving you the funds from those pools. So the two parts of the bridges are communication and then the liquidity part. So if you combine these two, liquidity liquidity module and the communication module, you have a bridge with you. And we can have different combination of these. It can be liquidity pools, it can be like minting new assets. And now we have like covered what different kind of bridges there can be between two chains. There can be liquidity pools that bridge that operate on liquidity pools, bridge that operate on minting of new assets on the destination chain. And also like when we talk about bridge, usually we give example of chain A and chain B, right? But a good bridge does not need to be tied to a pair of chain at a given time. It should be it should be easy to operate that bridge between multiple nodes. So for Ethereum to Polygon you have a bridge, and the same bridge should operate between Ethereum and Optimism also. So that's where a multi-chain bridge, that's what we call a multi-chain bridge. So usually when these bridges started, the native the actual blockchains or layer 2s, they created their own bridge with the Ethereum blockchain, because Ethereum is the like most used, most popular, it assumed to be like most secure blockchain. So that's why most of the layer 2s, even other layer 1s, are making bridge with Ethereum. But the bridge that the actual blockchain foundation team make, that is only with Ethereum. But now we need bridges that should work on multiple chain, and that's why you are seeing like more bridges solution coming out in the space. And the trust assumption on the bridge is very critical in terms of security. So because when you are giving your funds, you are trusting the middle entity, which we call a bridge, with your funds, and then that bridge is giving you funds after it has received. Now what's the guarantee that it will give you the funds on the other side? What will happen if it doesn't give you the funds? Will you be able to get your funds back on the source chain? So these are very critical assumptions when we talk about a bridge security. So now let's see hyphen in action, and we will then get we will go deep dive into the transactions that are happening, source chain transaction, destination transaction, who is doing those transactions, what is happening with those, how your funds are bridged. So let me share my screen with you. So okay, I hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
Cool. So this is like a hyphen bridge. You can let me, it's running on my local right now, but let me open the actual hosted one. Yep. So you can go to hyphen.byconme.io and see. So this, like, there are three main nets right now supported: Polygon, Ethereum, and Avalanche. And you can go between Polygon, Avalanche, Polygon, Ethereum, Avalanche, Ethereum. So any combination you can do. Let's try to bridge from Ethereum to Polygon. And I have some Ether, in my wallet. Uh, these are the minimum and maximum transfers I can do. And I can also change the address where I am receiving the funds on the destination chain. So usually when you see a bridge UI, you usually see an option to select a source chain, a destination chain, and the asset you are transferring. Now, since Hyphen is right now supporting only the asset transfer, not asset swap, so only you are only seeing one asset here, Ethereum, USDT, and BICO. You can transfer like all four assets from Polygon, from Ethereum, like among these different chains. Now let me try to do point to Ether from the source chain to the destination chain. Now here, you can consider Hyphen as a bridge where it is maintaining liquidity pools. So this is Ethereum, this is a Polygon. Here on each side we have liquidity pools where we have a lot of Ether. For in this case, we are transferring Ether. So on these liquidity pools we have liquidity available, and we will be depositing 0.2 Ether on Ethereum pool, and the bridge will be giving us like this much amount of Ether, 0.1179 approx. Because you are doing the transfer, so the bridge needs to have some sort of fee to sustain itself, right? I mean, people needs to run these bridges nodes. People have provided liquidity to these pools, so they should also get something out of it. So that's why there is this liquidity provider fee, which is the fee, which is right now like 0.1% that is charged from your transfer, and then it will be given to the liquidity providers. So there is something in it for them for providing liquidity. And then there is a transaction fee. So we will see like what transactions are happening. So when you deposit on this chain, the bridge listen to your deposit, and the bridge actually execute a transaction. So someone needs to do a transaction on the destination chain, right? And there will be some gas fee associated with that transaction. So this is a transaction fee which you are seeing here that is being charged from your transfer to cover that gas fees that the bridge is doing on the destination chain. Now since the destination chain is Polygon, so on Hyphen, all the transaction going towards Polygon are actually free of cost. Like, we are not charging any destination chain gas fee here because it's very less. So, and bridges covering that gas fees for you. So let's try to do a transfer of 0.2 Ether from Ethereum to Polygon. Now the transaction you are seeing here is the deposit transaction, which I need to do on the Ethereum. So from this transaction, I'm depositing my 0.2 Ether on the liquidity pool on Ethereum blockchain, like Hyphen liquidity pools. So I have sent my transaction. It is pending. And now, currently what's happening is, my transaction is sitting in the mempool of Ethereum blockchain, ready to be, picked up by one of the miners on Ethereum blockchain. And this transaction, let me open this also. This transaction is actually depositing. Okay, it's confirmed. So you can see the transaction actually sent 0.2 Ether from my address to this address. This is a contract, which is a Hyphen bridge. So this is a liquidity pool contract actually. So my 0.2 Ether went from my wallet to this pool. And now we are waiting to receive this much amount of Ether on Polygon. Now the bridge is actually listening, to this transaction, which I just did on Ethereum. And now in the background, the bridge must have been, executing a transaction on Polygon, because after verifying that the bridge has received this 0.2 ether, and then I will soon be getting, yeah, now I got the transaction hash which the bridge did for me on the Polygon blockchain. And if we see the details, you can see I deposited 0.2, but I got 0.1179 after deducting the liquidity provider fee on the destination chain. So let's see these two transactions, what's happening over here. The Polygon scan.com might take some time to reflect this transaction on Polygon, which the bridge did for me. I did not do this transaction. I only did the transaction on Ethereum blockchain. For some reason, yeah. Okay. So let's deep dive a bit more into this deposit transaction, which I just did. Okay, it's behaving very slow. So yeah, when I did the deposit, I told the hyphen bridge smart contract that my 2-chain ID is 137, which is the Polygon blockchain mainnet chain ID. I told the bridge that I want to receive my funds in this address on Polygon blockchain, and I have sent 0.2 ether to the bridge. So bridge have all the information. Bridge knows on which chain it needs to give me the funds back. It also knows how much funds I have deposited. So after deducting the liquidity provider fee, it will give me the remaining amount on Polygon blockchain in this address which I have specified. And now if you see the Polygon transaction now, and again, if you see the deposit transaction was done by me, 7F3B, this is my wallet address, 7F3B. And on the Polygon chain, this transaction was done by this address. This is the like one of the bridges address, you can say. So there are like multiple nodes that are running in the background, which bridge is running, which is hyphen bridge is running, and they have like multiple accounts there that can send the transaction. Like we call them executors, in hyphen bridge. So this transaction was done by like one of the executor in hyphen. This is the address of that executor. It interacted with the hyphen bridge on Polygon. So two bridges are there, like two pools are there, one on Ethereum, one on Polygon. So this interacted with the Polygon bridge, and I got 0.1179 wrapped ether, because that's the ether representation on Polygon, and the funds was transferred from the hyphen bridge to my address. So this is the same receiver address which I specified over here during my deposit. So if I can change this address, the bridge will give me these funds to that address. And you can see the transaction fee which was borne by the executor. Like we have not reimbursed that, because hyphen bridge is sponsoring this for you only on Polygon, not on Ethereum. On Ethereum it's very expensive, so the bridge will deduct the gas fees on Ethereum from your transfer if we had done it from Polygon to Ethereum. And you can see this is the function which the executor called send funds to user. It told the smart contract that this is a token address which we need to give. This is the amount that was deposited. This is the receiver address. This was the deposit hash on Ethereum. So we can cross check from Ethereum. The deposit hash was 3EA. And then here also 3EA. So for this deposit hash, we give the funds to this receiver. This is the token gas price. So this is the one where like this parameter decides how much we should deduct from the user transfer for the gas price, for the destination chain, gas price. And yeah, like this is how we did a cross-chain transaction using hyphen. Now, like to summarize this, what we did, we only did our deposit transaction on the hyphen bridge on Ethereum. The rest, everything was taken care by the bridge. I did not have to do anything. And that's where, also like, since hyphen is one of the Biconomy's product, So user experience will, always be better, and because that's where we always, focus, where, so that the UX is very seamless. So here also, as you have seen, that all I did was deposit, and everything I just, sat here and watch. Now, how you can leverage, these hyphen pools in your application. Let's say you are building a cross-chain application. You want to leverage these hyphen pools because these are open, these are open pools on blockchain. So even if you go to the blockchain explorer, open this contract, it is verified. Even if you did a deposit ERC20 transaction from here, the hyphen executors will listen to this transaction, and you will eventually get your, funds on the destination chain ID with whatever you mention here. But of course, you will not like randomly put anything. Hyphen currently support Polygon and Avalanche, so you can either put Avalanche chain ID here or Polygon chain ID, and your funds will be, transferred using hyphen. So even if you are doing, if you are making an application and you want to integrate hyphen bridge, you can actually go to this documentation, docs.bycorme.io. You can move to this section, hyphen instant cross-chain transfers. This is some theory written over here, but hyphen has also an SDK that makes it easy for you to interact with these deposit pools and to listen to the transaction that are happening on the destination chain by the bridge. So SDK makes it really easy for you to do all these operations. I'll just quickly go through the steps. Npm install or yarn install, do hyphen install hyphen SDK. Take this hyphen instance, create a new instance. You can provide the provider object from your wallet, and this is the on funds transfer callback method. Like once your transaction is confirmed on the destination chain, and if you have provided this callback method, SDK will trigger this callback method once the destination chain transaction is triggered as well as confirmed. So 2 times it will call. After instantiating hyphen, you can just call hyphen .init. You put a await. Once the hyphen is initialized, you can do a cross-chain transfer. Now, before doing a cross-chain transfer, like before actually doing the deposit transaction on the hyphen pool, you can also call like pre-deposit status method in the SDK that will cross-check for you whether there is enough liquidity on the destination chain or not for the given amount which you are depositing on the source chain. And other checks it also does, whether you have given the approval or not to the deposit contract. Because if it's an ERC20 token, you first have to approve the token, you first have to give the approval to the bridge contract, and then you can call deposit. It's like usual way of how you deposit a token into a smart contract. And then you can check all the responses. If it's okay, you can go ahead. If it's not, accordingly you can handle the error message. And help hyphen SDK also provide you some helper functions like for approving ERC20 tokens. Once everything is done, you can just call deposit method of the SDK. Internally, the SDK is actually calling the deposit method on the liquidity pool smart contract on the deposit chain. So either you can do it directly or you use the SDK to do it for you. Sender, receiver, token address, deposit contract address. This is the bridge contract on which you are depositing. You will get it from the SDK itself. Like no need to remember this or hard code this in your code. Amount you are depositing from chain ID to chain ID, from which chain you are going to which chain you are going. Hyphen SDK also has inbuilt functionality for meta transactions. So you can just keep the flag as true, and your deposits can be gasless also. So that's like additional, this is optional, so this is additional options in hyphen SDK. And
Sachin, but here one thing I want to add, that this meta transaction only available on Polygon side right now, because to better transaction to be enabled, the token which you are trying to transfer has to be supported internally native meta transaction. So on Polygon side, all the token which are mapped on Polygon are natively internally are supporting native meta transaction, but on other chains like Binance or Avalanche, these token are not supporting meta transaction. That's why on Hyphen also, if you use Polygon to any exchange, you can use gasless toggle button, but otherwise from any chain to Polygon or any exchange to exchange, you cannot use meta transaction. Yeah.
Yep. And once your transactions are done, and there's like additional option for doing network agnostic gasless transactions using Hyphen. Again, it's a feature, in the Hyphen SDK. We can you can go through the steps here. For the sake of time, I will not go deep too much into it. Now, once you do the deposit transaction, you will get a deposit transaction object. This is the same, you can call wait method on this object to wait for the confirmation of deposit transaction. Now your transaction is done. Now you need to listen whether you have received funds on the destination chain or not. How do you do that? So it also has some helper methods for listening to the cross-chain transaction done by the bridge on the destination chain. So either initially, as I mentioned, either you can just pass this callback method. SDK will call this method for you once the transaction is done on the destination chain, or you can actually directly call this method, check deposit status. You just pass the deposit hash on the source chain. You mention the chain ID of the source chain. This is an API call to the Hyphen backend infrastructure, and it will give you a response whether the transaction for this particular deposit hash is done or not. Now you will have to periodically call this API because this is just an API call. So either you can call this method, or you can pass the callback method, which periodically internally calls this only. So it makes things easy for you. And if for some reason the transaction is not happening, maybe because of any reason, there is also an option for you to trigger to tell the bridge that this was my deposit hash. I have not received funds so far. So you just tell the bridge, can you check this deposit hash on this particular chain? And this API will inform the bridge, and the bridge can actually check if it has missed processing this transaction. It will process for you. So yeah, that was it on the integration side. You can see all the contract addresses here. Liquidity pool manager, this is actually the bridge contract where all the liquidity is on Polygon, Avalanche, on Ethereum. These are the tokens supported, addresses for those. And yeah, this is, and just to inform you, we are going to be releasing the second version of Hyphen. Concept is same, Hyphen liquidity pools are there, the executors are there who will do the cross-chain transactions, but it will be much more dynamic in nature. Because if you see here, the liquidity provider fee is fixed, which is 0.1%. But in Hyphen version 2, the transfer fee will be dynamic, based on the state of the pools. It will be dynamic. So there may be a chance in the Hyphen v2 that the fees is very, very low if you are going from one chain to another based on the condition those pools are in. And there will be some incentives also given to you if you are balancing the liquidity, because once you do transaction in one direction, you will increase the liquidity of one pool, you will decrease the liquidity of other pool. Now we need to balance this also. So in the current Hyphen, we are doing the rebalancing behind the scenes. But in -v2, we don't need to do that. We are creating the incentive opportunities when the pools are imbalanced, and there will be a chance that if you deposit into a pool that has very low liquidity, so you are helping the pools basically to rebalance, and there you can get the extra incentive amount for the deposit. And it can be a chance that you deposited 1 ether, but on the destination chain you got like 1.1 1.02 ether, more than what you deposited. So these arbitrage opportunities will be there in -v2. And once we launch the -v2 pools and the UI, it's for to get this arbitrage opportunity, it's just about doing a cross chain transfer. So based on the pools state, you can observe these pools deployed on these multiple chains, and based on their state, you can find these opportunity and just grab those opportunity to get some extra funds. So that will be very interesting. -v2, we will be, I think, we'll be launching in like next week, or in coming like 7 to 10 days. So yeah. Anything you want to mention, Divya? That was it from my side.
No, nothing from my side. I've been answering on the chat box Q&A tab.
Oh, there's Q&A going.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sachin, if you want to, take the questions from the Q&A tab, you can do that as well.
Yeah, sure. Do you mind pointing me to the questions, or do I need to answer all of those?
Whatever suits you.
Let me check.
Yeah.
So the liquidity pool fees is fixed or dynamic according to the amount you are transferring? Yeah, I can answer that. So right now it's fixed, but in -v2, it's going to be dynamic based on, which direction you are transacting, you are exiting. If the pool liquidity is low on the exit side, the fees will be higher. And if the the fees will be higher. And if you are sending on the other if the pool side is low and you are depositing in that pool, then the fees will be lower, plus you are entitled for some incentive also, I can say. Yeah. Can I also do gasless transactions like minting NFTs? Yeah, I think a lot of people are doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, even recently, 100 Thieves, DApp did NFT drop on their platform using Biconomies gasless transaction. They dropped around 750,000 NFTs, all gasless. Like no one had to pay any gas to mint those NFTs. So yeah, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. This first question you can check, Sachin.
Yeah. So regarding the DDoS attack, on these gasless transaction, yes, it is possible if you keep the system open, and that's why on like if you use Biconomies gasless transaction, so it's not an open system in a way that you can control how much gas you will be spending on the gasless transaction on your DApp, like only on your DApp. And you can specify that okay, per user I'm only going to be sponsoring this much transaction, maybe 0.01 ether, you are sponsoring per user. So these sort of limits basically you can set on the gasless product on Hyphen. Like it has a dashboard where you can control how much gas you want to spend per user, per smart contract, per smart contract method also, like if you just want to go that much granular. So yeah, if the if you just make this gasless transaction inbuilt in the blockchains, yes, it's very prone to DDoS attacks. And that's where Biconomy has some advantage over the chains that has inbuilt support for the gasless transaction, in a way that we are able to prevent these kind of attacks by having some sort of limits and more security around gasless transactions. Another
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. Another question is regarding security of cross-chain bridge, which is very important. Yes. Any solution regarding security? Yeah. Solution will be to minimize the trust assumptions as much as possible. Like, of course, there like cannot be a bridge where you are not trusting anything. Because you are doing the transaction, you are trusting the bridge, but it depends what level of trustness is there. If you are trusting with very small number of entities in a bridge, it's not secure. If that trust, like if there is like multiple trust layer, and each layer is independent of the other layer, so where you there can be for doing a cross chain transfer, for example, you have to get confirmation from one entity, which let's call them oracles, one oracle, the other oracle, and then when all of them provide their confirmation on a particular deposit, then that bridge perform the execution, and without their confirmation, bridge cannot do the transaction on the chain. Now, since they are independent multiple entities, it's very very hard for all of them to collude and do provide the bridge fake information about any deposit transaction that hasn't happened yet. So the more layers of you can say oracles which you have in the bridge, the more secure it is, and the less trust assumptions are there on these entities, again the more secure the bridge. Like no bridge is like no bridge is like 100% secure. There's always going to be some trust assumption, but how small those are that will decide how secure the bridge is.
Yeah. One question is, can we determine approx time for bridging? Can you show the stats section, Sachin?
Okay.
Yeah. So here on the right side, you can see last transaction time. So you can select your desired network and check the time. And yeah, so the next thing is determine the gas fee for normal transaction before the transaction. Yeah, I think when Sachin was doing the transaction, there was below a pop-up which showed that this much will be the transaction fee and this and that. So all the details are available. This one is interesting. Is Biconomy is also working on their native relay chain?
Okay. Yeah. So currently, Biconomy has two products, Gasless and Hyphen. Like they are pretty, like Hyphen is centralized, Gasless is centralized, but Gasless product is trustless. Even it's centralized, it's trustless because you are dealing with signatures, like not you're not relying on Biconomy relayers to do the gasless transaction for you completely and change the logic also. No, relayers cannot change the logic. They just relay your signature on the chain, and on chain signature verification is happening, so relayer cannot change any message in your meta transaction. Now on Hyphen, yes, currently Hyphen bridge is centralized, where you are trusting Hyphen bridge. Now we are working on a Biconomy protocol. I think the light paper is already out. You can check the light paper on the biconomy.io website. That will have its own solution, and that involves a Biconomy chain in order to make the Hyphen bridge and other use cases like cross-chain swaps, cross-chain smart contract calls. So in order to have these use cases in a decentralized way, yes, we are working on a Biconomy protocol solution that will be a decentralized network whose main purpose is only to enable the cross-chain communication among the different multiple blockchains. So you can consider that Biconomy network in the middle, and all the chains connected to it, but it won't be or layer 1 or layer 2. No, it won't be like that. The main purpose of the Biconomy network is to enable the communication between multiple chain in a very seamless way, in a decentralized way. And yeah, also to make maybe gasless product can also be become decentralized, even though it's already trustless, you don't have to trust it. But yeah, like Biconomy is running the relayers, and so with this Biconomy protocol, anyone can run a relayer, anyone would be able to run a hyphen node, and get incentives from the network. So yes, we are working on that solution. Bridge is more useful in case of contract to contract. For manually someone doing transfer, is there use of a bridge? I do not understand this question. For manually, like if you want to move your funds from one chain to another, you have to do it manually, right? You have your wallet, you have the custody of your wallet, so only you can take those funds out from your wallet, give it to the bridge should be able to transfer your money on the other chains. uh, so yeah, like it makes sense for people to manually use the bridge. I mean, I don't get the question, like what is this?
I think he's trying to ask if bridges can help in contract to contract call for the things we are doing currently manually. If that can be done via bridges, as a single click,
Yes.
single click or two clicks or something.
Yes. So that is a use case of a bridge. Like I mentioned, apart from this transfer, apart from just swaps, you can actually, call the smart contracts also if the DApp allows, from that bridge. I think you were saying if my MetaMask wallet works with multiple networks, then why do? Oh, okay. So see, even you have like your MetaMask wallet on multiple networks. Let me show you. This is my MetaMask wallet. This is my address. I have zero point 0.9 ether, right, in my account. But if I go to Polygon, that 0.9 ether is right now not in my account. Even though I have the address on the Polygon, but those zero point 0.9 ether are on Ethereum, not on Polygon. If I want to have access to those funds on Polygon, I have to bridge those assets from Ethereum to Polygon, so they can so they can stay on Polygon, and now I can use those zero point 0.9 ether on any application I want. So that's why you need to bridge them, and that's where the bridges are useful. Instead of going gasless, can gas back be the great option? It can be the option, but the gasless is actually all about the user experience. If you already have gas, you are able. It's so gasless is never about sponsoring the gas fees all the time. Gasless is all about the user experience. Even the second version, not version, but yeah, other versions of gasless, you can consider it like you are actually paying the gas fees, but not in the native currency, but in any other currency you might have. And even though that's gasless, like you did not have to spend the native currency on that particular transaction, but you actually paid for the gas in some other tokens. So if you see, this case is not sponsoring the gas for you. It is, even though it's gasless, but you are actually paying the gas in other currencies. So gas back, like it can be done by some dapps as some a campaign for some period of time. But yeah, that's up to the dapp on how they want to do it. It can be an option, gas back based on the application. Are you hiring web 3.0 freshers also for any role? Like we always welcome good candidates, so if you are interested, you can actually reach out to us. We have our Discord channel open, we have our Telegram channel, you can mail us, you can see the email address from our website. So yeah, like if you are a good and passionate one, then yeah, do reach out.
Yeah, I'll share the email of the HR.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sachin, for such an informative workshop. And thank you, Divya, for answering all the questions in the chat. It was really helpful for all the builders. Uh, yeah. So before you folks leave, we have prepared a small quiz for you. Here's a link on the chat. One of you who gets all the right answers will be given 1,000 rupees Amazon voucher. The form will be open for 15 minutes and the winner will be announced on our Discord. Here's the form. For now, we will let Sachin and Divya go and enjoy their Friday night. For everyone else, we will wait a few minutes before everyone fills up the link. Thank you so much, Sachin and Divya. It was a pleasure hosting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And one last comment, like if you have any ideas, if you are working on some application, you want some discussions, help, suggestions, do reach out to us on our Discord channel. Don't hesitate, and maybe we can catch up over there and discuss some interesting ideas.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Sachin. Take care.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.